February 1, Tucson, Arizona. A doorbell camera records a masked figure at Nancy Guthrie's front door. Then Nancy is gone. She is 84 years old. She is a mother. She is a grandmother. She is Savannah Guthrie's mother, the woman millions watch anchor the Today Show every single morning. And on February 1, someone takes her from her home. Days later, a ransom note lands at TMZ. The sender demands millions of dollars in Bitcoin. They include a verified wallet address. They want you to believe this is about money. Here is where this case stops making sense. The Bitcoin wallet sits completely untouched. Over $1 million, never collected, never activated. No negotiation follows. No proof of life surfaces. No sustained extortion strategy ever takes shape. This person demanded millions and then walked away from every single dollar. And a second letter arrives. This one is different. The sender apologizes. They claim they didn't know about Nancy's heart condition. They write that she has gone to be with God. You don't send apology letters in a financial transaction. You don't grieve the person you took for money. And you don't write to a family in mourning unless you knew them. By the time this video ends, you will understand exactly why the financial motive theory collapsed. And you will know who investigators may have overlooked from the beginning. Share this video right now. Nancy Guthrie deserves more than silence. Subscribe to Justice Over Everything. Uncover the truth. Demand justice. But before we talk about who did this, you need to see every piece of evidence investigators actually have. Law enforcement responds fast. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos leads the investigation. His department pulls the doorbell footage immediately. It shows a masked man approaching Nancy's home. No face, no identity, no public leads. Investigators collect DNA from the scene. They submit it to the FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia. The most advanced forensic lab in the country takes this case. Months pass. Investigators have announced no public match. Sheriff Nanos makes one thing clear early on. He formally and publicly excludes the Guthrie family from suspicion. The people closest to Nancy are not suspects. That matters, and we will come back to exactly why. Here is what investigators have confirmed. A masked figure on camera, DNA at Quantico, multiple ransom notes sent during the investigation. But here is the part most headlines skip. Investigators have questioned the authenticity of those later letters themselves. They have officially verified none of them as genuine. The Bitcoin wallet from the first note was real. Investigators confirmed the address, but no one ever moved the money, not a single transaction, not once. Then the apology letter arrives in the investigation timeline. The sender references Nancy's heart condition. They write that she has gone to be with God. Investigators question whether this person had real information, or whether someone constructed a false narrative to close the case early. 5 months. No arrest, no named suspect. The DNA sits at Quantico, waiting for a match that hasn't come. Here is what the evidence actually tells you. Whoever did this staged a kidnapping, created ransom materials, and disappeared. But they made no serious attempt to collect a single dollar. That is not how a professional kidnapping operates. So if this was never really about money, then what was it about? And who had a reason that had nothing to do with Bitcoin? We haven't even gotten to the detail that made one retired law enforcement officer say, "This investigation may have been looking at the wrong person entirely." Retired officer Charles Brewer has monitored this case from the beginning. He spent his career in law enforcement. He is not satisfied with the financial motive theory, and he is not quiet about it. If this truly was a celebrity-targeted kidnapping connected directly to Savannah Guthrie, why has there been no meaningful ransom communication? He doesn't stop there. Why leave over $1 million untouched? Why create ransom-style messages that reportedly make little sense? Why no sustained negotiations or proof of life? No sophisticated extortion strategy? Then he delivers the line that reframes everything you thought you understood. Because If somebody kidnaps for money, money usually becomes the priority. Now look at the evidence through that lens. 5 things tell you the financial theory is wrong. 1. No negotiation ever follows the initial ransom note. 2. The Bitcoin wallet is real, but no one ever activates it. 3. The later letters contradict each other in ways a coordinated operation would never allow. 4. The apology letter reveals emotional knowledge of Nancy that a hired kidnapper would never possess. 5. Reports show community members blocking access near Nancy's neighborhood. And that is not curious neighbors. That is deliberate obstruction. This neighborhood is being silenced. That 5th point is the one mainstream coverage keeps dropping. Someone at street level does not want investigators getting close. Brewer does not point at the Guthrie family. Sheriff Nanos already cleared them. But Brewer identifies something more specific and far more unsettling. A dangerous person orbiting somewhere close to this family that nobody fully recognized at the time. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old. She raised a daughter who became one of the most recognized journalists in America. She had a life, a community, a world of people who knew her. And right now, the investigation into who took her may be aimed in entirely the wrong direction. Who do you think is the dangerous person orbiting this family? Drop your theory in the comments. We read every single one. Because when you build the profile of who could actually do this, the answer is darker than anything the headlines gave you. Here is the reading most people land on first. A professional kidnapper panicked, abandoned the ransom, and ran. That is the clean explanation. That is the one that lets you sleep. But here is what destroys that explanation completely. A professional operation does not send apology letters. A hired criminal does not reference a victim's heart condition. Someone who panics and disappears does not write grief-filled messages to a family they took for money. The apology letter is not the behavior of a stranger. It is the behavior of someone who knew Nancy. Brewer's framework forces a different profile entirely. Not a professional, not a random actor targeting a celebrity family. Someone with direct proximity to Nancy or the Guthries. Someone who had access to her routines, her health, her world. Not necessarily family directly, but maybe somebody connected to them like a friend, an associate, maybe a business relationship. Or what about a debt? A dangerous person orbiting somewhere close to this family that nobody fully recognized at the time. Consider the DNA at Quantico. 5 months, no public match. Either this person has no prior criminal record, or investigators have searched the wrong profile type from the beginning. The investigation may have launched looking for a professional, but the evidence points somewhere far closer to Nancy's world. The abandoned ransom, the apology, the emotional language, the community-level obstruction. None of that fits a hired stranger. Share this video everywhere. Nancy's family has gone quiet. The more eyes on this case, the harder it becomes to ignore. Justice over everything. The apology letter is the detail that won't leave this case alone. What does it tell you about the person who wrote it? Tell us below. And until the person who wrote that letter is identified, Nancy Guthrie is still out there, still waiting, still unaccounted for. Nancy Guthrie is still not home. More than 150 days have passed since a masked figure took her from Tucson. Her daughter went on national television and begged for her mother's return. The FBI has this case. Palmer County has this case. And the person responsible still does not have a name. Something still feels off. Something still feels untouched. Brewer is right. When a case this public, this documented, this connected to a national media figure, still produces no arrest after 5 months, that is not an accident. That is a failure. And someone pays the price of that failure every single day. The dangerous person who orbited close to this family is still unidentified. The DNA sits at Quantico. The neighborhood near Nancy's home has gone quiet. The investigation has slowed to near silence. We are not going quiet. Nancy Guthrie matters. Her name matters. Her life matters. And this case is not over. 5 months. No arrests. No named suspect. What do you think needs to happen to finally bring Nancy home? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe to Justice Over Everything. Like this video. Share it everywhere. Because as long as Nancy is missing, we keep talking. Uncover the truth. Demand justice.